My name is Josephine Backwater, been about Summerfield. And I was born in Kenwood. My birthday is October 28th, 1941. My mother's name was Katie. The maiden name was Walford. My dad's name was Jim Backwater. I have 4 brothers and 2 sisters. We didn't have no kind of toys. We didn't know what they were. I loved to make playhouses when I was a little girl and make mud pies, and I didn't have no dishes. I just made my pies in lids and cans and, just things I could pick up. Growing up, I babysitted a lot, and I still played with the kids outside, but I'd have a baby on my hip all the time. And one place we lived, there was a cellar. There was a cellar there, and it had a cement top. And it was the house that this man had let us live because he hired my dad to take care of that farm. And there was a big cellar there, and I made my playhouse on top of that. So that morning, early that morning, we got up. My mom got us up. We went pick blackberries. So we come back home, and she was going to can the blackberries. And she told me, said, take the baby, watch the baby while I get this done. And so I took my brothers both outside, and my brother he could set up the baby, but he couldn't walk yet. And so we went out there to my playhouse, and I was making mud pies and stuff, and I set my brother on that little slab on that cement, and the cellar had water in it. It was full of water. And whenever I was busy with my mud pies, I heard something go, choom, like that. I turned around, and my brother was gone. And my other brother, he was going in the house to tell on me. And I looked down in there, and my brother was in that water, going up and down in that water. And I went running around through there and went down them steps, and I got him. About that time, my mom was already standing there. And he got a lot of water in him, and she turned him upside down and, started slapping him. And man, I knew I was in trouble. She was really inspirational. She was very good mother. We had a wonderful mom.
Did you guys have a garden?
We had a garden, had our vegetables, and then we'd hunt wild greens, in the woods and stuff like that.
Did you grow up speaking Cherokee in your house?
Yes, that's all we spoke. We didn't speak English. We didn't understand it. We lived way back there in the holler, and when I started school, I didn't understand or speak English. I failed the first grade at the first year because I couldn't understand anything, and then I missed school a lot because it was so far for me to go to catch my bus. And I was 7 then, because my birthday comes so late. I had to start at 7 years old. Plus there was about 8 or 9 of us that was that way. And the teacher put us all in one row, all the Indian kids in one row. And none of us spoke English, none of us understood. And we just hung around each other all the time because we didn't understand anybody else. And it was scary. It was scary because that teacher would tell us and say things to us, and we didn't even know what she was saying. And she'd hit us on the head with a ruler. I had to take my lunch, and a lot of times I really didn't have nothing. My mom, wouldn't have anything, especially white bread. We never knew white bread. All we ever ate was biscuits. That's all we ever ate. We didn't know there was any white bread or anything till I started school, and I seen a lot of the kids, with that white bread. And my mom, she said, go down to your grandma's and fix you a sandwich to bring, back for your lunch. Because she she would have the bread. And one day, this was really comical to me now that I think about it. Whenever I went down there, she said, "Oh, I don't have anything to put in your sandwich," she said. And she always looked up in her stove. She had a wood stove, had that warmer up there, and she had gravy up there. And so I just slapped that gravy on my bread and made a sandwich out of it. But I do remember when I got in the first grade, I learned how to jump rope, at school. And I'd wear out my shoes because that school ground was all gravel. It wasn't no grass. And I loved to jump rope. It was something new to me. And I'd grab that rope and we'd go out as soon as that bell would ring. And I had two friends in there, the Indian girls. They were twins. They were my friends all through school. We all jumped rope, and I'd wear my shoes out. And my dad, he would sew them back up. The sole would start flopping off, and he would sew it up with the copper wire. She was fixing bed slats, to put on the bed, and she told me to go and get the axe. And I knew where my dad put the axe, was leaned it by the house. And I was trying to reach for it, and there was a sticker plant in front of it, and it kept sticking me. And I reached over and got it, and I thought, well, when I get that, I'm going to cut that thing down. So whenever I got the axe and I put my foot on that plant, because I'd seen my dad, I'd watch him cut wood, and he'd step on that limb or the wood, and he'd chop at it. And that's what I did. I had my foot on that plant, and I come down with that axe, and I cut my toe. There was a man they called Son that lived here in Kenwood. He knew how to doctor, cuts and bruises, stuff like that. And he brought him back, and my mom, she was just holding me and holding my toe, where it wouldn't bleed, because it just started bleeding real bad. And she was still holding me whenever they got there. And he came and he said, "Do you have an old piece of rag?" He said, "I don't want a new piece." I said, "It has to be an old piece of rag." And she said, "Yeah." So she got it, and back then there was a lot of the medicine was turpentine and kerosene, and he mixed the medicine with that, and he just slapped it on my toe and wrapped it around with that rag, and he said, "She'll be okay. She'll be all right." In a week's time, it was healing real good, but he put it on there crooked. So I got a crooked toe now. Looks like a turtle head. When we moved to Salina, then we had a car. Then we went to Salina Creek whenever it was before the big dam and stuff, before it became a lake. There was a lot of beautiful places to swim there. My mom would cook down there, and my dad, he would get the crawdads and stuff. She'd bring potatoes, and we'd all eat down there. And a lot of times we'd take our laundry down there, and we'd wash our laundry. You'd do our laundry down there at the creek. We had a rub board. We washed on rub board for years and years, and she taught me how to do that. And then one day she got a wringer washer, and we thought we was in hog heaven then. It was just so easy.